Before we arrived, it was easy to guess the roster, no? But what we create is the competition in between them, in between 75, 80 players, with the possibility to feel that they can get on the end the roster for the World Cup. What we are going to do is to try to be fair with our values, our way to see the things, and to try to create the best roster, the roster that is going to fight, believing that we can win.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast is presented by Henkel. Whether it's bold style, fresh gear at home, clean sheets on the pitch, or performance that holds strong when it matters most, Henkel's family of brands supports fans and athletes on the road to glory this summer.
Hi, Mauricio. Welcome to the U.S. Soccer Podcast. I'm so happy to have you on here. I've been so excited to have you on. And my brain has been ticking just thinking about all the things that we could talk about. Okay, Coach, we're about 100 days out from the World Cup. You've been building the group for almost a year now, a year and a half, actually. What does it mean to you to lead this team at the World Cup?
I think it means a lot. I think it's the first things, the first word is excitement, because I think we are so motivated to deliver good emotion for our fans and for our country. And I think the players are very conscious about that we are a group of people in the federation that we want the best for our country, our people, our fans. And we are so excited to looking forward. It's only 100 days to start. But for us, it's already start. I think we start to feel the excitement and the feelings. We are so excited, looking forward for now to be ready.
It's certainly coming around fast. I can't believe that there's only about 100 days left. It had me thinking, though, you went to the World Cup as a player, and now you're going to lead a team as a coach in the World Cup. Does it feel the same as when you were about 100 days out as a player, or does it feel differently being a coach?
It was a long time ago, because it was in 2002, but I think, yes, we were. When you are a player, you have different focus, and I was in my team in that moment. I was playing in Paris Saint-Germain, and you need to be focused, day by day in your duty, and that was my duty until the World Cup, to be focused in Paris Saint-Germain like a player. And now it's different, because it's 1 year and a half that we are preparing, for the World Cup, and now 100 days until we start, and it's only we are focused and 100%, in the World Cup. That is different, because we are living in a different way, and I think we are so excited. I think it's completely different when you are a player and when you are a coach, but now I think it's more, full emotion, because only in our mind is every day, 24 hours, thinking in the team and thinking in the World Cup, thinking in all that we are going to do,
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I feel like you do have a few matches still to prepare and tweak things and just make things a little bit better before you get into the World Cup. And when you're a player, you're not necessarily thinking about those little things. I'm sure your brain is always thinking about everything that you could change and make better. But the big matches are going to be against Belgium and Portugal and Atlanta. You have said so many times that there are no such thing as friendlies. And I'm guessing that you want to put on a show for the USA fans in Atlanta, which is going to be the home of the National Training Center. So let me ask, what does the USA look like when we are absolutely flying?
I think it's, in your question is too many, things. I think not friendly, because when you defend your badge, your shirt, and you play for your country, why friendly games? To use that word friendly. Friendly is not friendly. It's about to play for your culture, for your fans, for your pride, everything. is there. It's not friendly games. That is a bad word, no, in the competition, in a professional soccer, no. And then if you believe that is a friendly game, you don't give your best because there is no consequence. But you need to play with consequence because the consequence and the pressure and the stress make you feel better or no, to be better and to perform better and to put yourself in the reality that you are going to find after in the competition in the World Cup. And that is a bad word. That is why we were fighting a lot about to try to avoid that word, that friendly. When you play for your country, it's about to play it and to give your best and not to think in after and not to think in tomorrow or not to think in the future. It's to think in today. And that is for us is our mentality. And of course, now we arrive after the last 2 camps in a very good moment. It's true that after nearly 3 months, to compete and to play again is a long period. And always different factor can influence, your performance because it's the level of, the player, how the player are going to arrive, player injured, player no injured, that we are evaluating now and assess all the assessment that we are doing now to try to build the best roster for March. But I think what we have after 1 year and a half, the advantage of that we know we manage a pool of 75, 80 players, and we really know. And yes, if someone is not ready or if someone is not in the best form, I think we have players that we know how they are going to perform and to behave and the dynamic that we want to create on the team. But we are so excited. I think we arrive in a very good moment. I think we are in a situation that we plan to be. I think that the plan up and downs during 1 year and a half, but that was the planification and was the plan for us to arrive before the World Cup with the possibility that really believe that we can beat any team, that we can win the World Cup, because that is our objective, is to win the World Cup. But with basic fundamentals and principles and values that you can make that be close to win.
I love how you talked about that there are no friendlies, because I felt like that as a player too. I was like, I can be friendly after the game. We can grab a beer, we can shake hands, but during the game, we are not friendly.
Agree, Matt, with you. Friendly is to be friend, not to play with your friends. No, that is the truth. And no consequence about the result. No, that is why we share the same idea. Yes, good.
Yeah, and I think it's a great principle because in the World Cup, there's going to be a totally different level of pressure than maybe any player has seen, because it's on home soil. More people will be watching it than any other World Cup in the history of World Cups. And so I guess what I'm asking is, for these friendlies in Atlanta against Belgium, against Portugal, how do you create, or can you recreate, the pressure of being in the World Cup during those games?
Yes, I think football is about talent and discipline, but in the same time to be free, to give some free, moment in that organization for the player use the real talent and to optimize the talent of the player. But at the same time, we need to create that stress and to put the stress in every single training session. They need to feel like the organization too, that we need to perform in our best, and it's not enough. And always being with that idea, with that feeling that we can do better, putting pressure. I think, that is, I think, in the last year and a half that we try to implement on the national team with the organization and with the players, and go to training session, go for a dinner, for lunch, when we are in meetings, always been, putting a stress that is not we are there to spend good time. It's because we need to prepare the World Cup. And the World Cup is going to put us in a very difficult situation. because when the stress will arrive with the fans and everything, we start to feel that emotion that I think you need to be ready. And be ready is to recreate and to replicate the same things that never is similar, but to increase our exigence in training every time that we are together, and I think put our standard, raise our standard so high, put our standard so high, that is important, is to be ready today, because if you are not ready today, you are not going to be ready when you start the World Cup. I think all these type of things that we are very focused, of course, after in the game plan, in the way that we are going to play, the tactical, way that we are going to play in every single game. I think that is important too, but these two things are key for performing our best way.
Next summer, the world's biggest tournament comes to America. But long before first kick, the real work happens at home, where families are gearing up for game day. From the locker room to the laundry room, Henkel's trusted brands are fueling performance, strengthening bonds, and celebrating every clean sheet, every bold style, every repaired cleat, and every unstoppable moment. Because the game may be played on the field, but it's won in the everyday. Winning starts at home with Henkel's family of brands, including Persil laundry detergent, Got2b hair care products, Dial soap, and Loctite adhesives. Proud partners of US Soccer.
I think one of the last big questions that people have on their minds is the roster, because that's one of the very biggest decisions going into this World Cup. Alex Freeman recently transferred from Villarreal after a breakout season. He's one of several players, including Max Arfsten, Sebastian Berhalter, Matt Freese, Diego Luna, that you identified and had big impact in 2025. There will be a lot of attention given to the final roster, and I think you have a lot of difficult decisions to make. It's a deep group. When you're building the team and making those decisions, how much of it is driven by pure talent and how much of it is driven by other things like chemistry, experience, and just guys who make the locker room better?
But that is a great question, because before we arrive, in 1 year and a half, I think we all know was easy to guess the roster, no? But what we create is the competition in between them, in between 75, 80 players, with the possibility to feel that they can get on the end the roster for the World Cup, fight for the roster, to be on the roster. And that increase the level of the group, of the player, because we create that competition that now, if you play in some place or you play already in the national team, okay, you for sure, if you not perform, you are going to be there because you deserve, because you are a good player, or the people think that you are a good player. I think you need to deserve to be in the roster of the World Cup. What we are going to do is to try to be fair with our values, our way to see the things, and to try to create the best roster, the roster that is going to fight, believing that we can win. And I use sometimes the hockey example, when I saw the miracle, when the coach say, we don't need the best player, we need the right players in the roster, and to create that chemistry. And I'm going to say congratulations to the hockey team, men and women, for the gold medal. I think it's amazing. My congratulations, and I think they are going to be, for me, an inspiration, to translate to the player, that capacity to compete and to win and to fight for the share and to fight for the. I seen Coach Sullivan. I saw a few quotes, and he was great. Talking about that chemistry, about the culture, about in the way that we need to face, the competition. And I said, It's an inspirational thing for us, but that is in the way that we need to prepare the World Cup. Is to be right and to find the right player, to be really strong and to go and to fight with the different national teams.
Coach, you mentioned hockey, and I'm really curious. By the way, I watched both games, and they were so exciting, and it was so fun to cheer on USA in gold medal matches. So it got me curious, outside of soccer, where do you draw inspiration from? I wonder if your tactics and approach are ever influenced by other sports like miracle, like you mentioned, or perhaps even art or nature.
No, for me is every single sport, that you can relate with soccer. You can be the possibility to feel that, to feel inspired for them. We were visiting a few days ago, 1 week ago, a place that all the athletes here in Catalonia is CAR, is a center of where the Olympics athletes prepare for go to the Olympics games, and it's when I was younger, when I was a player, I used to go and to work there, and share with different athletes the different sport, and that was really inspirational for me because that was to feel the reality of the sports and the resilience, the how you really need to really believe and fight, to improve yourself, to give your best after for the collective, that is for your team, and then that passion about what you are doing, because that soccer cannot be my way to survive in life. It need to be your passion. If you want to give your extra, step and energy, is because you need to feel something here. If you don't feel here, is I have a talent, I can have a good life playing soccer. Okay, you can be a good player, but not a world champion. And to be a world champion, you need to feel the fight here. And that is always was inspirational, and that every single sport is inspirational for me.
One of the best parts about soccer is the passion. You're so right. And I felt that my whole career. And there's an upside to passion, which is when you just feel so much joy because you're winning and you're playing well and you're doing like some of your best work. But then there's also the heartbreak. And unfortunately, you suffered some heartbreak in a World Cup as a player. You played in a World Cup yourself, and Argentina exited in the group stages. And I want to read a quote from you where you said, in the aftermath, I didn't want to train. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to be with my family. Didn't want to play with my kids. How does that experience factor into how you prepare these USA players? And is there a part of you that wants to make sure that they don't suffer that same way?
That I didn't say that was a bad thing. If you feel like this after a big defeat, it's because you really care. That is not a thing that you can say, okay, now I'm going to be depressive or I'm going to feel that so bad. When you feel the passion and you really care about the things, when that is again in the way that you feel, it's impossible not to feel in this way. Hope that we can translate that emotion to our player, that to feel that after the game, winning or losing, because that is a sport, that you give your best. If you are capable, like a group of players and staff, to give our best, nothing to complain. Of course, that after you are going to feel so bad because you gave everything, and if you don't achieve, that is a it's a feeling that you are going to have in your brain, in your body, and depend how your character. Maybe you did better or better in few days. You can recover, or maybe you need 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month. But the important thing is that we need to face the competition in this way, feeling that in a sport way means life or death. You are. That is for me is in the way that we will take that opportunity to be in the World Cup, giving your best and then nothing to complain. If you after different factors you cannot win, but not after to regret things. That is what I learned from my past, from when I was a player, is to feel bad because I give everything and we cannot achieve, but not to feel bad because you regret, because you should not prepare yourself in the best way to face the competition. I don't know if I explained.
I think you explained it perfectly. It's a really wonderful mindset because soccer truly is so much about just playing. To me, it's never really been about winning or losing. It's been about the preparation. It's been about the joy of playing. It's the passion inside. And you learn from the losses and you celebrate your victories.
Because some people complain after, when you lose. If you lose, people complain of it and say, but you need to prepare now, because what we want to translate is never is enough. Every single day is a possibility to be better and better and better, and be conscious about that. And after we play and we lose, I start to complain. But you gave your best and you prepare in the way that the demand of the competition expect from you. And that is the problem, that the organization, the coaching staff, the staff of the federation is who dictate in the way that we need to prepare. That is why when we say we dictate how we are going to prepare the team, it's not the player dictate how they want or what they think how they need to be. No, I'm going to save energy here. I know I won't do this, do that. No. It's us to provide the player the best platform to perform. That is why we are 50 plus and we have more experience, and that we learn from our experience of the past. And the player, they don't need to think. They need to do what we dictate and what we prepare all this, that platform for them to perform. That is the most important thing.
Bank of America has long supported sports, recognizing the impact they can have in strengthening communities, creating connection, and expanding opportunity. That's why we're proud to be the official bank of U.S. Soccer, championing everyone who dares to ask, what would you like the power to do? Bank of America, official bank of U.S. Soccer. Legal, Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Okay, so following the roster announcement, there will be 2 final tune-ups against AFCON champion Senegal in Charlotte and Germany in Chicago. What are the priorities and what do you think the team still needs to learn?
I think if you want to win the World Cup, you need to have 8 games, 3 and 5, 8 games. We need to add 4 more, Belgium and Portugal and Senegal and Germany. I think we need to be ready to compete and to win the games. I think that is for us our goal, and is that is what we want to earn, is to win games. Thinking in that is the World Cup. I think it's important because we are going to compete again 4 teams, that Belgium, Portugal, Senegal, and Germany, that they have possibility to win the World Cup and are very good teams. But that is, for us, is our goal, to compete in our best and beat this team, and then start the World Cup with this feeling. Of course, that are going to be tough games. But that is going to put us in a very good situation to see things that we need to keep some level that we need to keep because we are in the good in good way, and maybe levels that we need to improve if we want to arrive to the World Cup and with the possibility to win. I think it's going to be fantastic. We didn't want to play with different. I think we tried to find the best teams in the world to try to compete with, with teams that force us, to give our best and to put us in a very good situation to start the World Cup.
If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that's the mentality that we're going for. Coach, I feel like I could talk to you all day about football, but let's end here. You said at the start of this interview that the USA can win the World Cup. Tell me why you have so much faith in this group. And I have faith too. I want you to know that. I just love hearing you explain it.
No, because I think, first of all, because we are people that we really believe. When we accept being in charge of the USA men's national team, I think it's because we really believe that we can deliver a very good job and with the possibility always to win, because it's in our mind. Our mindset is to win, is to compete and to win. It's compete. And I think we have a very good athlete, very good players. The challenge was to unify and to put all in the same line, no? And I think that was share the culture with you and with that amazing country that is USA. And I think it's important. We add our experience, we add our knowledge, but also we learn in this year and a half from you all, for the culture, for the people, for the coaches, for the player, for the structure of the USA. I think that is a very good mix. That is why we arrive in that moment in the last two camps competing really, really well. Because I think we create a very good space and dynamic of believing in a special culture that we create all together, and that is important. And I think we represent a country that always want to be the best and want to be the number one. And players have the talent. It's only to be all together, to find the right player that want to fight for each other, want to fight for the badge, for the fans, want to create good emotions. And that for me is the most important thing, is to put your share, your country, your badge in front yourself. It's not about names. If you say to me, in World Cups, in national team, I for sure, and maybe that is go again, no, what the people think, but avoid the names on the share, because that is, you compete USA again, no? Okay, in clubs it's more business, but in national team it's pure emotions. It's pure emotions, and because you defend your country, you defend your culture, you defend, your family. I don't know. It's completely different. You play for nothing more than your pride and and to want to translate emotion to the people, and that is why if you say to me, if I am the president of FIFA or I say we avoid the names. It's the number one, the number two, the number three, the number four, the number five, and no names, because I think it's different. No, football is about to. Yeah. Unify people, is love, is solidarity, is share cultures, that feeling that I think make amazing and make the most unbelievable sport in the world.
Well, to quote your favorite movie, it's not about the name on the back, it's about the name on the front of the shirt.
Exactly.
And thank you so much for being here, Mauricio. We are 100% behind you. Fight, 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 and have so much fun during the World Cup. And we will be watching.
Thank you so much, and pleasure to talk with you.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? And O'Reilly Auto Parts is right around the corner. O'Reilly Auto Parts can help take the guesswork out of your vehicle's check engine, ABS, or maintenance light with O'Reilly Veriscan, a free service that only takes a couple of minutes to complete. You'll receive a free, easy-to-read report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans that have been verified by ASE-certified master technicians. O'Reilly Veriscan can identify the most likely problem with just one scan. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can then recommend the parts and tools you need to do the repair right the first time. And if you're not comfortable doing the repair yourself, they can recommend a local shop for you. Don't ignore check engine, ABS, or maintenance light. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today, a free service exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Welcome back to the U.S. Soccer Podcast presented by Henkel. My name is David Goss, and you just heard Kling talking to the main man, the big head honcho, Mauricio Pochettino. Kling, a lot of great insights in that interview. What was your biggest takeaway?
Honestly, I have two big takeaways. One is it's just so much fun to talk football with Poch. Like, I feel like I never got to interact with a coach that has coached at that high of a level. And as a player who's played in a World Cup, who's done Champions League finals, who's played in NWSL finals, who's done all of the big tournaments, we as players on those teams never got to interact with somebody who is that caliber of a coach. And so being able to talk to him was a true delight. We talked about our passion for football, which, you know, was a shared love. And we just had so much fun. We didn't get into tactics, which I would love to have another chat with him about that.
We got to get the board out for you next time.
Yeah, well, I want a whiteboard with Pochettino. How fun would that be? But yeah, it was a really interesting and fun interview where we kind of bonded over our love for the game.
Yeah, he is passionate about the sport, and he's got a big opportunity to do something really special with the U.S. men's national team. We are 100 days out from the World Cup. You've won the 2015 World Cup. Take me back to this moment as you prepare for a tournament. What is going through your mind? It's one of those things where I think even if you pretend to ignore it, like everyone else is telling you, hey, it's officially the 100 days out. As a player, what is your life like right now? And what are you trying to sort of focus on and put together?
You know, the way that I would approach it now as a 37-year-old veteran player is much differently than the way that I was approaching it as like a 26, 27-year-old player. And when I was about 100 days out, I was just worried about making the roster. I wanted to make the roster. I wanted to play in games at the World Cup, and that was my only focus. So I was eating everything that I could that was like healthy. I was like getting things out of my diet. I was talking to sports site. Like I was doing everything that you possibly could to make sure that I gave myself the best opportunity to be picked for that roster. And I'm sure that's what all of those guys are thinking about too.
All right. Last thing for us here is everyone else's opportunity to ask you the big questions, because this is Ask the Pros, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is where people get to ask myself, you, Ali Bedoya, when he's back to answer questions on the show. Let's get started with myself here. We've got Brian in New York who said, with the World Cup coming up, which MLS-based players do you think could have a breakout tournament and really raise the league's global profile? I think it's a fascinating question. I think you can see from the transfers that have happened recently, Alex Freeman going to La Liga, some of the other young players who have been pulled into some big clubs. I think that the change of perception has happened a lot at the sort of like management levels of people in the sport who work in it. But I think it's going to be the fan perception where there's a huge opportunity to sort of go out and watch guys ball and then say, oh, players can play at this level. Max Arfstein's a really high one on my list because of the way he plays. He can sort of like get to his spot anytime he wants. Left foot, right foot, he creates chances if he gets forward. I think Diego Luna's on that list as well. This like creative style player of, I think many people think of, okay, if an American player is going to be good, they are X, and they think of like the Brian McBrides of the world and like working hard, trying hard, throwing their body in front of things, which is all great. And I think you will see again at this World Cup, but it's that quality and skill in these individual moments on the men's side, which I think is going to be maybe sort of new for people. And there's some really young players that are playing really well to start the year in MLS at the Red Bulls at Real Salt Lake that could sneak on a roster. And you got 19, 20-year-olds who are capable of doing really special things that I think might shock some people and really make them celebrities coming out of it, which for a lot of people who are already soccer knowledgeable, it might be new to them around the world. Kling, for you, we've got someone from my neck of the woods, Ashley in Miami, who says, from your experience, what's one small detail in preparation for a World Cup that fans don't realize can be a huge difference at a World Cup?
You know, I do think this comes down to the federation. And if you have big federation support, then you have such a better chance of winning the World Cup because they take care of all of the details so you can focus just on playing soccer. And so if you have a federation that is going to help your friends and family get to the World Cup, watch you at the World Cup, leave you alone at the World Cup, have them travel away from the World Cup, you know, get them food, get them drinks, a federation that is going to bring like all of the recovery tools everywhere, keep the noise out, block out all the fans. Like if you have a federation that is able to do those things and anticipates all of the needs of the players in that way, you have a huge leg up on all of the rest of the competition. And I didn't realize that before going to the World Cup. I realized I always knew that U.S. soccer was giving us more than federations around the world. But then when you go and you see the level of preparation that went into anticipating all of our possible needs, not just needs, possibility of needs, then you realize how big of an advantage this actually is to have a federation's backing that believes in you, that supports you, that gives you what you need to just focus on the games.
If you have a question for Ask the Pros, drop our partners, Westwood One, a DM on Instagram at Westwood One Sports. Thank you, Kling. Thank you to Mauricio Pochettino. Thank you to Matt, our producer. And thank you to everyone for listening. And don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and never miss an episode. And we'll be back next week.